What if I told you that the device in your pocket right now has stolen more hours from your life than you've ever realized? Picture this. It's 2 a.m., and there I was, lying in bed with my phone glowing in the darkness. I'd opened Instagram just for a second at 11:30 p.m., and somehow 3 hours had vanished into thin air. My thumb was sore from scrolling, my eyes burned from the blue light, and I felt empty. Hollow, like I just binged on digital junk food for hours. That moment was my wake-up call. I realized I wasn't living my life. I was watching other people live theirs through a screen, and the worst part, I wasn't even enjoying it. I was trapped in what I now call the scroll spiral, that mindless cycle where you keep scrolling, hoping the next post will finally satisfy you, but it never does. Sound familiar? Here's the thing that really hit me. I calculated that I was spending nearly 7 hours a day on my phone. 7 hours! That's more time than I was sleeping, more time than I was working. I was essentially living inside a 5-inch rectangle and I didn't even realize it. But here's the twist in this story. I didn't go cold turkey. I didn't throw my phone in a drawer and become some digital hermit. Instead, I discovered something much more powerful. I learned to build a life so engaging, so fulfilling, that my phone became irrelevant. Let me tell you how I did it, starting with the strategy that saved me thousands of hours. Chapter 1. The Power of Purpose. The first breakthrough came when I realized something profound. I wasn't addicted to my phone. I was addicted to avoiding boredom. Every time I felt that uncomfortable feeling of not knowing what to do next, my hand automatically reached for my phone. It was like a reflex. So I decided to hack this reflex. Instead of fighting it, I gave myself something better to reach for, a clear plan. Here's what I started doing. Every evening, I'd spend 5 minutes writing down 3 specific things I wanted to accomplish the next day. Not vague goals like be productive, but concrete actions like organize my desk drawer, call Sarah to catch up, or learn 5 new Spanish words. The magic wasn't in the tasks themselves. It was in having an answer to that dangerous question. What should I do now? Because when you don't have an answer, your brain defaults to the easiest option, mindless scrolling. I remember the first day I tried this. I woke up, felt that familiar urge to check my phone, but instead I looked at my list. The first item was make a proper breakfast instead of grabbing a granola bar. Such a simple thing, but it gave me direction. And you know what happened? Instead of losing the first hour of my day to Instagram stories, I made pancakes, actually tasted my food, and started my day feeling accomplished rather than scattered. Chapter 2. The delete and repeat method. But having plans isn't enough when the temptation is literally in your pocket. So I had to get ruthless. I deleted Instagram, then I reinstalled it an hour later, deleted it again, reinstalled it. This went on for weeks and I felt like a failure. But then I realized something. Each time I deleted the app, I created friction. Those 30 seconds of having to go to the App Store, search for the app, and reinstall it were enough to break the autopilot behavior. Eventually, something shifted. The 4th or 5th time I went to reinstall Instagram, I paused and thought, wait, why do I even want this right now? I couldn't think of a good reason. So I left it deleted. The key insight here is that addiction thrives on convenience. When scrolling is effortless, you'll do it mindlessly. But when you add even tiny barriers, you force your brain to make a conscious choice. And most of the time when we're thinking clearly, we choose the better option. I even deleted Chrome from my phone so I couldn't just Google Instagram and use the web version. Yes, it was extreme. Yes, it was annoying. But that annoyance was exactly the point. It made me question whether I really needed to do this thing I was about to do. Chapter 3. The Great Outdoors Revelation. Here's where my story takes an unexpected turn. With all this newfound time and nowhere to scroll, I did something I hadn't done in years. I got bored. Really, truly bored. And instead of panicking and reaching for a screen, I decided to see what would happen if I just sat with it. I grabbed my keys and walked outside with no destination in mind. That first walk changed everything. I noticed things I'd never seen before. Even though I'd lived in my neighborhood for 3 years, there was a little bookstore tucked between 2 buildings that I'd walked past hundreds of times but never really saw. There was a coffee shop with an outdoor patio where people were actually talking to each other. Imagine that. I started making it a daily challenge. Spend at least 1 hour outside with no agenda. Sometimes I'd discover new parts of my city. Sometimes I'd just sit in a park and watch people. Sometimes I'd strike up conversations with strangers, something I never would have done when I was constantly staring at my phone. One evening, I was sitting by a small lake near my house, just watching the sunset reflect on the water. I realized I felt something I hadn't experienced in months. Genuine contentment. Not the artificial dopamine hit from getting likes on a post, but real, deep satisfaction from simply being present in a beautiful moment. That's when it clicked. Social media had been stealing more than just my time. It had been stealing my ability to appreciate the real world around me. Chapter 4. The Human Connection Revival. But the real transformation happened when I started applying this phone-free approach to my relationships. I used to be that person who would pull out their phone during any lull in conversation. Awkward silence? Check Instagram. Waiting for food at a restaurant? Scroll through TikTok. I was physically present but mentally elsewhere, and I didn't even realize how much this was affecting my connections with people. So I made a new rule. When I'm with other people, the phone stays in my pocket. Period. The first time I tried this was during dinner with my college roommate. We'd grown apart over the years, and our conversations had become surface-level catch-ups, punctuated by phone checks. But this time, I kept my phone away and really listened to what he was saying. Something amazing happened. Without the constant distraction, our conversation went deeper. We talked about his struggles with his career, my fears about the future, memories from college that we'd never shared before. By the end of the night, we both agreed it was the best conversation we'd had in years. I started doing this with everyone. Family dinners, coffee dates, even casual hangouts. Yes, there were uncomfortable silences sometimes. Yes, I had to learn how to carry conversations without falling back on showing people funny videos. But these boring moments often led to the most meaningful connections. The irony wasn't lost on me. In trying to stay connected through social media, I'd become disconnected from the people who actually mattered. Chapter 5. Finding Your North Star. The final piece of the puzzle came when I realized I needed something bigger than just avoiding my phone. I needed something to work toward, a purpose that was more compelling than scrolling. For me, it started small. I'd always wanted to learn guitar, but never had time. Well, suddenly I had 7 hours a day back. So I bought a cheap acoustic guitar and committed to practicing for 30 minutes every day. Those 30 minutes became the highlight of my day. Unlike scrolling, which left me feeling empty, practicing guitar made me feel accomplished. I was building something, creating something, becoming someone new. But here's what I didn't expect. Having this one meaningful activity made it easier to add others. I started reading again. Actual books, not just captions and comments. I began cooking elaborate meals instead of ordering takeout. I even started a small garden on my apartment balcony. Each of these activities shared something that social media couldn't offer. They required presence, they showed tangible progress, and they enriched my life rather than just filling time. The guitar became my symbol of transformation. Every time I felt the urge to scroll, I could look at my guitar and remember that I had something better to do with my hands and mind. Chapter 6. The Ripple Effect. 6 months into this journey, something unexpected happened. People started asking me what I'd been doing differently. They said I seemed more engaged, more present, more myself. I realized that breaking free from phone addiction hadn't just given me back my time. It had given me back my attention, my curiosity, my ability to be fully present in my own life. The changes went beyond what I'd imagined. I slept better because I wasn't scrolling before bed. I felt less anxious because I wasn't constantly comparing my life to others' highlight reels. I was more creative because my mind had space to wander and wonder. But perhaps most importantly, I felt like I was living my own life again instead of just observing everyone else's. Now, I'm not saying you need to become a digital hermit or throw your phone into the ocean. Technology isn't inherently evil, it's a tool. The question is, are you using the tool, or is the tool using you? With that said, thanks for watching, and until next time.